So, welcome to another MSI demo, which is intended to present some really interesting items happened during the last week and some interesting contributions submitted to MSI. Today we are hosting the meeting from the Mage Specialist headquarters here in Perugia, Italy, where we are having a blast at the event organized here by the guys and doing a lot of MSI stuff. So Ricardo will provide more information on that, but currently team is working simultaneously on bundle product support, on B2B, on various improvements, bug fixes, and even CLI for reservations management. Just made it up today and now working on it. So quite a productive event. Today on the schedule we have two items by Bartek, but unfortunately he was unable to join due to some family-related reasons. So we'll try, like me and Igor, to present his work done, which was done during the event last week in Krakow. So I think the first item was the integration of GraphQL and MSI, yes, and this was quite a big item, as we already have GraphQL support in Magento, which is in active development. It was first released with 2.3, the same time as MSI, but unfortunately, GraphQL didn't know much about other sources, other stocks, and, well, it only was capable of working with the default stock. So Bartek addressed this issue in his pull request. To do that, he had to introduce another module, which is inventory GraphQL, and basically implement two resolvers, which are now used in place of the ones coming in the bundle with GraphQL. So the solution is pretty forward, and one of the resolvers provides only X left and stock feature, which is used on the front end and can be configured by an admin. Basically, it just shows the amount of products left in stock after a certain threshold is reached. After this pull request is merged, this information would be available in GraphQL queries without regard to single stock or multi-stock store setup. The second one is a stock status provider. Again, GraphQL until now had the problem that it wasn't able to resolve in stock or out of stock status for the products which are assigned to non-default stocks. So this is fixed now as well. I'm pretty sure that this pull request has now even passed the QA phase, so it should be merged really shortly. Yep. I think this is all I have on GraphQL. Unfortunately, Bartek was not here to show us how it works in action.
The pretty interesting thing we would like to add here that Bartek noticed during the implementation, so that current implementation of the Cadillac inventory GraphQL model, which I just sent you in the chat to this stream, does not cover the possibility to retrieve the stock quantity. So just as Evgen just mentioned, in stock and only X left in stock values are included. So that Bartek promised us to extend the default possibility of the Catalog Inventory GraphQL module and to provide the possibility to retrieve the stock quantity and provide there as well, and along with that to retrieve this possibility, to extend this possibility via MSI as well. So that in the desirable state of the inventory GraphQL module, there are gonna be three values provided out of provided via the GraphQL entry point, and that this value is gonna be stock status, product quantity and only X left in stock value. So currently we have just two values because the product quantity value is never used on a front end. So that's why guys who are building the Magento front end did not include it initially, and that's why it's not appeared on a existing catalog inventory GraphQL entry point.
I just realized I never started the screen share for the GraphQL pull request, so I've sent a link into the chat. Okay, so the next on the agenda is another pull request by Bartek, which was done during the same event. It improved performance by reducing the usage of our view, and I think Igor will be able to present it for Bartek.
Okay, I'll try. So, do you? No, you don't. So you still don't?
Yeah.
Okay. This was a bad move. So this is actually part of the performance track, and as a part of this performance track, we wanted to eliminate usage of MySQL view because we've noticed that it introduced quite a big performance degradation, and we have one of the contributors who provided us a pull request with the materialized views, which is based on triggers, and who made the performance comparison of the existing MSI based on the MySQL view, plus some of the performance patches we already did but not released yet, and with the approach based on the triggers. And like making that comparison, we realized that we still have a gap, and we don't have. We're still using Vue on a pretty crucial scenario, which is run on a front end, and actually this scenario implies the add is in stock field to collection, which is called several times at the category page, for example. So that the idea was to fix the category page performance, and in the scope of his fix, Bartek introduced kind of conditional logic, which is like maybe it's not so cool from the software craftsmanship perspective, but this introduced a performance fix at least at the time when we will have the bundle product supported, so that we no need this conditional logic anymore, and then we can get back to the previous implementation, like you can see from the left side of the screen. But to do so, we need to have the bundle product implemented. Until that time, we will have this conditional logic, which handles a slightly different default stock and the custom stock. And for the default stock, we don't have the MySQL view usage at all. And instead of the MySQL view, we are using the direct join on the catalog inventory stock item table. So this fix introduced the performance boost for both category page and the product saved page scenarios. So that applying this fix, we're going to rerun most of our performance acceptance builds to compare our productivity with existing Magento plus MSI. This is actually pretty much all. I believe both of these pull requests would be accepted maybe today or tomorrow. So currently we are still polishing them and fixing some slight issues with the static test updates. But I believe both of these pull requests will become a part of the Magento and MSI delivery very soon. So this is all from my side, and I'm stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thank you, Igor, and big thanks to Bartek for implementing these two beautiful features. The next on the table is Store Pickup, and during the last week we had two quite major updates from the guys who are actively working on the Store Pickup. So I'd like to give the word to Alexander, who has been working on the Store Pickup UI. And specifically on the controls which are added to the source grid and source edit.
Thank you, Evgeny. Hello, everyone. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Cool. I will talk a little bit about my pull request. Actually, this pull request is mostly a refactoring of implementation which has started from some Australian guy on contribution day in Australia. This is related to refactoring of implementation new attributes for inventory source, which can tell us that this source is available to use as a pickup location. Let me show it in how it looks in sources grid. We open sources grid. We can see additional column. It named pickup location, and it shows the status of pickup location. Does it available or not available for customer to be used? And if we open source edit form, we can see that there is one more field which are which give us possibility to manage the status of pickup location for this source. This is it. And now I think Maxim can tell us more about orders which have placed with pickup location and their readiness for pickup.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm trying to start sharing my screen. Please wait 30 seconds. I should install Chrome extension for that. My files. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you well.
Okay. I'm still trying. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see something.
Okay, great. So let's go to back office. We can see an order view page. So what was the aim? For orders placed with Store Pickup, we need a button which allows us to notify a customer that order is ready for pickup and send him an email with this notification. Also, besides that, we should create a shipment to reserve this quantity in the source. So what has been done? There you can see a button itself. You can even click it. Let's try. Well, and that's all. Email have been sent. I cannot confirm it, just trust me. It's working. And also a shipment have been created. Well,
Maxim,
yeah.
sorry, can you show about the case when a source is not available to fulfill the order?
Yes. Okay. For that we can manage product and set its quantity to 0. For example, let's do it now. Well, something went wrong, I'm afraid. Because I used to see sources list there, but okay, it doesn't matter. Now it should be not available. So yes, you can see the message, the order is not ready for pickup. And in the other side, if order is already shipped, the button is not visible. Well, that's all, actually. Also in future, I'm going to add an order comment. When this button is pressed, that the customer is notified. And implement asynchronous email sending. That's all, I believe.
Thank you, Maxim. This is really nice. So this pull request is still work in progress, but again, I'm pretty sure after a round or two of the reviews, we will get it merged. So working hard on it right now. Maybe anyone has any questions specifically to Store Pickup implementation, which is currently going on? If not, please feel free to drop those questions to MSI chat on the Slack if any of those arise at any point. So the next on the agenda, I think we had Rick, but also I know that Slava would like to share some progress that has been happening on the test scenarios, on the manual test scenarios for the MSI. So I suppose Slava can talk about that now.
Hi everyone. Let me share then my screen. So our our test scenarios are located on heap test, and during this week I was filling some gap for test scenarios and added 23 more. It's even I would say it's like variation of scenarios. So it was dedicated to, first of all, asynchronous way for mass action transfer inventory to source on product grid. I added several test scenarios here. Also, it was filling the gap for work of making order from custom website and custom stocks for simple products, for virtual products as well, and for downloadable. And also we had an issue with backorder work when product was not visible on front end when they have been recorded on with zero quantity. So this gap also was filled with test scenario. And that's all actually from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Slava. Thank you for hopping in with the update. This week we don't have Tom on the call, I suppose, because he's still supposed to be on the vacation. So at least we got some nice test updates from you. Okay, so the next one I'd like to invite to the stage Derek, who is the host of today's event, and he will tell us more about what's happening in this beautiful office now.
I wouldn't say beautiful office, but thank you anyway. But so, yes, today, maybe, can you? Thank you. Sorry for the feedback. Today we had a contribution day here in Perugia, and it will be the same for tomorrow. And we started working on some issues for MSI. So this is basically an MSI-oriented contribution day. And I don't want to share everything because we are working on several aspects, but I just want to share maybe the most interesting. You should see my screen. And I have a couple of guys working on the bundles product support for MSI sourcing. So basically, it seems like we managed to have the reindexation working for bundle product. You cannot see anything now. I mean, there is not any open pull request because they probably are going to finish their job tomorrow or maybe even the day after. But this is quite interesting. And they managed to arrange something. So it seems like that the bundle products will be reality for MSI quite soon. Another cool issue we are working on is reservation CLI. So basically, it's a command line tool allowing you to find any potential inconsistency in a reservation mechanism, because when you migrate, for example, from 2.2 to 2.3, you may have some orders that are not in a complete status. So basically, you can have an inconsistent reservation table. So this command basically finds every single potential inconsistency you have, and we are also thinking to add maybe some automatic fixing tool for these kind of situations. I think you would see probably one pull request by the end of the day for this. Then we are even working to adding some B2B functionalities for MSI, specifically this issue from Lars that basically is adding MSI support for B2B. And I'm also personally working on one old pull request I still have under work in progress. That is one enhancement of performance while keeping the legacy inventory synchronized with MSI, because as you know, every time you save MSI or you save the legacy inventory, you have to update the other side to keep them up to date. And today, I found something very interesting I'd like to share with you, just as something to think about. Maybe you have a greater idea than me. So I found that basically trying to improve the performance, I add a performance degradation that usually is not exactly the best thing you can find when you want to work on performance. But fortunately, I found that was not my fault, because when I basically run some of the operations asynchronously, because you don't need to run, for example, the reindexation or the legacy synchronization in a synchronous way. You can run it asynchronously. I found that basically the pushing the messages to the queue apparently was taking more time than the operation itself. So I found this digging into the implementation of scheduled bulk, that basically when saving in the entity manager, because you know every time you push something, as bulk operation, you're creating one entry in one summary, in the bulk summary. I found this in the entity manager that was slowing down the implementation. That is a kind of reflection for some update or create interface. Now I'm digging more deeply into the code to understand what's wrong here, because this is going to slow down the operation. And I think it is everything from my side. And yeah, we'll continue working on this event tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Doesn't work. Yeah, I think this is pretty much all for today.
I have one note. Only one. Rick,
Sorry, we couldn't hear you now. Can you repeat, please?
guys, you
Now
hear
we
me
fixed
good?
ourselves.
All good? You hear me?
Yes, yes.
Cool. Yeah, Rick, just looked at your last this code snippet you showed me. Just as a note, we have on async import track, we have several stories where we want to eliminate the use in the database on the step of saving the bulk operations. And yeah, nobody yet picked up these stories. So if somebody interested in making improvements here, you're welcome.
Okay.
I think we have to introduce a new section to the MSI demo, like just 5 minutes for everyone to buy, sell something, to advertise their products,
Yes.
projects.
Yes, please.
By
But
the
in any
way-
case, it's in our plans, and we already mentioned we made some performance calculation that this step of saving the bulk operation, async operation database, if we will remove it, it will save us about 30% of the performance.
Yeah.
By the way, Alex, just a question regarding that. So you just mentioned that you want to eliminate persistence in the database at all, but potentially, because we can still preserve the persistence of the records in the database, but like the main part which affects the performance in this case is that we are saving each operation one by one here. So
Yep,
for example, like saving 100 operation will lead to 100 independent object to be saved, because we are working with we are the entity manager there. So potentially we can just substitute it with a bulk insert call, for example.
That's also true.
So that's actually the question, what's the desirable state? Maybe you already had that discussion, whether you want just eliminate persistence in database at all, or you want to substitute it with a bulk insert call.
No, we didn't discuss the bulk insert call. That's quite a good point. This elimination of database, that's kind of feature which want to be developed, but it will not be like the default one. The database will still stay the default one, because so this means when we have a way to improve the current default state, let's say to using the bulk saving, that's definitely a good idea. But we didn't have any detailed discussion on this topic yet.
Okay, so if you'll send us this ticket you're talking about, so we can try to sell it on this event, because we'll have the contribution day tomorrow in Mage Specialist headquarters. So we can try somebody who will step in and fix this
Okay,
performance degradation.
Got you.
Yeah, I can also add notes to it for the weekly newsletter and see if we can get help on both sides.
That would be nice.
See, MSI advertisements working in action.
Yeah, just send me the links or put them in the MSI chat, and I'll get that all hooked up.
Yep, deal.
Thank you. Okay, I think this is pretty much all content we have had for today, but maybe anyone wants to say something more?
Next week, this is Lori. I'm going to be working on a bunch of documentation updates, but I'm also going to try and do my first code PR against UX text. So I may be pinging a couple people for help, just FYI. I'll also look at the in-store pickup to make sure that we're using the same terminology of active versus enabled across everything, so we don't confuse users.
That sounds great. Also, please let us know if you need something like to figure out on in-store pickup, because currently it's scattered across different branches and pull requests, and sometimes it's hard to find some specific items.
Will do.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for your time.
Actually,
Really
I just had
enjoyed.
one more really quick. Maybe it's a question for
Yeah.
Rick. So I saw the one that you showed on the B2B items, which is great. That was number 1828. There is a separate issue as well, 1823, which is also related to B2B for making MSI compatible with requisition lists. So I don't know if that it was something that you had seen, but we'll need to pick it up at some point.
Yes, I saw we had a couple of B2B issues. Yes, yeah, I saw it.
Okay, great. I see it has it has your the label on it. So
Yes, there's the label on it. Probably the first one was picked up because it was not a special achievement, so it was supposed to be faster probably. But it's a good idea maybe for the contribution of tomorrow to pick this up.
wonderful. That's all for me.
We anticipate that solutions would be quite similar for both, so I hope that like fixing one would kick off others really quickly. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining the meeting, and I suppose see you next Friday at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
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 Have a nice life.